What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, and this is going to be an 8-rounder in the heavyweight division, and this fight is going to be Friday, November 15th from the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on Netflix. And to first talk about some of the rules for this bout, because, it's really not your traditional matchup. One of the biggest rules is in terms of the rounds. This will be an 8-round, 2-minute round bout. Each round will be 2 minutes as opposed to the normal 3 minutes. Another key rule is with the knockouts. Since this is more of a show type fight, I was kind of shocked that there was no knockout rule. Both of these guys, with their own discretion, could knock each other out, which I was shocked with because when you think of the safety of the older guy, Mike Tyson, he's nearly 60 years of age. But another key rule is the glove size for this one. And this also delves into the safety aspect along with how many minute rounds. They will be using 14-ounce gloves as opposed to 10-ounce gloves, which is the traditional size for a sanctioned heavyweight contest. And another thing to talk about is that this will be counting on both of their professional boxing resumes, which I don't think is that great for Tyson, I'm going to be honest. And before I kind of dive into how I see this fight going, I don't really need to talk about their resumes too much. I know in every prediction video I do, I like to break down each fighter's resume. Really everyone knows Mike Tyson. Everyone knows Jake Paul. But really to reiterate the career Mike Tyson had, he's really an icon of the sport, and people forget that. Even though he's really now seen in this age as this older, more polished veteran of the sport, people forget that he was the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history at just 20 years of age. He was also a 2-time heavyweight champion and also a former undisputed heavyweight world champion. He had a record of 50 wins, 6 losses, and 44 knockouts in his time, and he was also inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, rightfully so, in 2011. And he's also beaten some of the best of his time back then. And he's also been involved in some really key moments in boxing history, and especially when he bit Evander Holyfield's ear. And I'm not saying that was a good thing, but it's just become one of the most infamous bouts in all of boxing. Just in general. That's just something that everyone knows in terms of boxing, especially affiliated with Mike Tyson. But then now to talk about his opponent, his adversary in this one, Jake Paul, just a little bit. Really, like I said before, everyone kind of knows Jake Paul. But, he currently has a record in boxing of 10 wins and 1 loss. That 1 loss coming to Tommy Fury, the brother of Tyson Fury, as most of you guys know. And really his resume is filled with a lot of MMA fighters. Like in his last fight, he defeated Mike Perry. He's also defeated Anderson Silva as well. But, he started out as just like an actor, like a child actor, as like a Vine star back when Vine was a big thing. He also is still big on YouTube. He's amassed billions of views across all his platforms, has made millions of dollars from his social media, and now he's turned into a professional boxer, which I respect, because he really kind of didn't have to do this, but he has made kind of a name for himself now in boxing and is really trying to have a successful career. But being that he has such a big name, it does pave way for some kind of big and kind of crazy events like this one, where we're seeing a 60-year-old retired fighter and a retired legend in Mike Tyson facing this kind of annoying kid who started out as an influencer and prankster and whatnot, and now he's fighting someone at the likes of Mike Tyson. And that's also part of why Jake Paul's brand has gotten so big in boxing, because people want to see him lose. But now to just dive back more into the fight, I kind of went on a tangent there about their resumes and whatnot. But in terms of how I see this fight going, I just don't think it's going to go too well for Mike Tyson. And I think we have to be real with that. I mean, he's 60 years old nearly. He's 58. So, I mean, he's approaching senior citizen status in his age. And, I mean, he just keeps getting older. I mean, there's nothing else to say about that. And a few reasons why, specifically, I think he's going to lose is because you got to take a look at a few years ago. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast. He talked about how he did a training video where he was hitting the pads really hard. And I'm sure most of you guys have seen it. His trainer's in there in the ring with him, or whoever it was, had the pads up, had the full suit on to obviously dig in some body shots and whatnot. And Mike Tyson was in the video, looked great, looked powerful, looked awesome. However, in just that 30-second video, Mike Tyson's told Joe Rogan how he was in bed for a week after that just one video. And that just shows, like, when you're old, it's just not the same. Your body doesn't react the same. And I think we're going to see that here. I don't think his body's going to react the same as it did 20 years ago when he took punches. And even 20 years ago, Mike Tyson didn't have the greatest chin either. He got knocked out by Danny Williams. I know Danny Williams and Kevin McBride are much better fighters than Jake Paul. Jake Paul is. But, I mean, still, I mean, his punch resistance wasn't the greatest going out of his career 20 years ago. But now, especially 20 years later, nearly 60 years old, I mean, I can't imagine that punch resistance got any better at all in those 20 years. But another key reason why I think Mike Tyson will lose this fight and lose in embarrassing, sad fashion is because of the Evander Holyfield and Vitor Belfort fight. People kind of forget that fight happened because it was more of an exhibition, being that it didn't count on their official resumes and on their record. But Vitor Belfort stopped Evander Holyfield in the first round. And Evander Holyfield, as we all know, is another just legend in the heavyweight division, like Mike Tyson is. And he actually beat Mike Tyson in his day, in his prime back then. But he got destroyed by Vitor Belfort. And Belfort's not even a boxer. Belfort was an MMA fighter. Also, in his 40s, he was. It's not even like Belfort was a primed young guy. Belfort was in his 40s and still was able to destroy Evander Holyfield. And obviously, I mean, it's a different fight, but if it's going to be a fight where both of them are going out there full-heartedly, throwing punches, no speculation, no entertainment, no controversy, whatever. And if Jake Paul's going to go out there and really be committed to getting the victory, I think he's just going to destroy Mike Tyson and just go right through him. That's how I see it going. And it's really because of the age factor. And I know there's people out there, or I've seen a lot of people who still think, well, Mike Tyson still got it. He's powerful. He's a legend, blah, 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 blah. Nothing. I just think that argument is just completely false. And maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? It's boxing. Anything can happen theoretically. But Jake Paul's much, much younger. And I just think that even though it's 14-ounce gloves, I think in the first round, we will see Jake Paul kind of stay focused out there. I think maybe he might taunt Tyson early, right in the beginning of the fight. But I think that Tyson will try and utilize that peekaboo style that he's known for and that he's been known for forever. And I just don't see it working out too well because you just don't move the same when you're 60. And I know he's been training to an extent, but I just don't think that punch resistance will be there at all. And I see Jake Paul, once he lands some of his offense and once he actually starts throwing and landing, I just don't see Mike Tyson taking those punches that well at all. And I see Jake Paul just getting a stoppage victory or a brutal knockout or whatever. I just see Jake Paul getting another KO on that resume and picking up another victory. And sadly, it has to be at the hands of someone who we all love in the sport of boxing, someone like Mike Tyson, who's just a legend. But I just don't think that Tyson will be able to hold up. And Tyson's most recent boxing event was actually in 2020 when he had an exhibition with Roy Jones Jr., and that one just looked like a complete sparring session. I mean, obviously knockouts weren't allowed in anything, but that's not an indicator to me to that Mike Tyson can still continue on in this sport. But yeah, in the end, I just don't see Mike Tyson pulling through in this one, and I just don't think he'll be able to take the punishment at all, and I just don't think his punch resistance will be there at his age, being that he's approaching being a senior citizen. So if you made it this far in the video, comment down below your thoughts on my prediction for this fight, and also your thoughts on this fight overall, as in the end, in this one, I think that Jake Paul will get the job done, stopping or knocking out Mike Tyson in the first round of this one. I think it will be in the first round. If not, it will be early. But my official prediction will be Jake Paul via early knockout over Mike Tyson. Most likely, I'd say probably in the first round. But I just think Jake Paul will get the job done here, especially against a really, really old guy in Mike Tyson, who's just about like 30 years older than Jake Paul is. That's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.